I inspire a decision. I think it was the right one. What do you think? Other things have come to pass. Only time will tell if she is to be a valuable addition to our ranks. Valuable or not, I like her. And like, I don't see what the Summer Rose Court is supposed to be about. Just me building up a harem. Do you now? Um, I'll assume you have the kingdom's best interest at heart, then. I think you might be confused. I'm simply continuing a big rose tradition of hoarding all the people I find attractive in my court. I think I catch a smile gracing her lips as I brush past her to sit on the throne, but when I turn, her face is neutral. Linda has two faces, like pissed and neutral, and mild disappointment. Clinda's teasing aside, I can't help but notice that the throne already feels more comfortable against my skin than it ever had before. So why you call me here? Just to gossip about my first court member? No, your lessons continue tonight. We must begin learning how to wield the power of Crescent Rose. Cold shivers run down my spine, but I nod in agreement. So how do we start? Today we are focusing on your semblance. I wanted to recruit Weiss, but I'm not sure I'll have the time in this video because I don't want to make hours-long video. Because it's as painful for me to upload that it is for you to go through and hand out the part you like, I guess. I don't know, I'll see. After attaining to the throne, its power has been doubled, as you so kindly demonstrated with the Faunus representatives. But how long can you maintain that power? I'm not sure, I never tested that. I'll try now. No further instruction follow that, so I just do as she asks. I hold onto the armrest of the throne, concentrating hard. A gust of wind blows across the empty room, swallowing rose petals swept to and fro by the force of it. Clinda stumbles, but doesn't lose her balance. Her cape flaps like a flag in the wind. With no goal in mind, I just let the wind run rampant, coursing through the room. It's confined by the roofs and the walls, but I have a feeling if I put more energy into it, I could slam open the doors, crash into the windows. But how are you feeling? She's shouting over the wind. A little drained. How long do I have to keep this up? As long as you can. As things turn out, we discover my limit is a little over 2 minutes. By the end of it, I'm sweating through my clothes, and it's hard to breathe. Once I recover, we try again, this time standing up and far from the throne. This hardly counts as a field test, but at the very least now we know you don't need to be on the chair itself to exercise its power. Now, how about maintaining control over it? How concentrated can the winds be? Are you training me or doing experiments on me? Both. I am trying to discover the limitations of your power. So we're messing around until we figure out what I can and can't do. Yes. Now I want you to try lifting something. Can you fucking lift, girl? Can the queen lift? Briefly, I thought of Yang. She was more clever than me about testing the rules. I'll bring her to the next station. But if she were here right now, what would she ask me to do? It's the best shit ever. An idea strikes me. I often use my wind as a boost to knock people aside or to propel me forward. But what about in other directions? Hey, Glinda, step back for a bit. I return to the throne and hop onto the seat, which is the highest thing in the room. Holding onto the back of it for balance, I perch on the armrest. What are you going to do? Something very stupid. Jumping off the throne, I activate my semblance with as much force as I can. The winds surge up, lifting me into the air. This time the winds are so strong Glinda is forced to her knees, instinctively covering her head with one arm as she glares up at me. Ruby! For a few glorious moments, I am airborne, but I can't control the angle of the winds for too long, not with any kind of precision. They hit my legs, flipping me right side down. In my panic, I lose all control and go flying up to the corner of the throne room, falling to the floor in a jumble of metal and leather. Ouch! wrong outfit to try flying in. But I flew for a few seconds. I know I did. Sitting up, I rubbed the back of my head as Glinda's heel clicked closer to me. She grabbed my forearm, helping me up to my feet. Strong enough to lift someone in full armor, then. Well, so is Nora, and no one writes home about it. Well, I do, but that's because I'm fucking gay off spark for Nora. She sighs. So now what? Let's tone down the excitement for a moment. Force and power come easily to you. Now we'll try self-control. Pulling a gold coin out of her pocket, she balances it on its edge so that it is standing while on a little wheel, like a little wheel. Move it as far as you can without lifting it from the floor or knocking it aside. What? That's stupid. I don't recall asking for your opinion, Rose. I'm just gonna knock it over. I'll try not to. Duh. For a moment, I wonder if she's watching with me. But Glinda doesn't break out into a smile or laugh. I crouch down in front of the coin, pursing my lips. Holding out a hand, I push forward with a semblance as delicately as possible. The coin wobbles from the sudden breeze and rattles on the inside. See? Not satisfied, Glinda has me do the coin test at least a dozen more times before she lets me go up. What was the point of that anyway? What was the point of jumping off your throne like a lunatic? We're trying to see what you can do. Holding Crescent Rose takes self-control. These tests are nothing more than using it to amplify your own power. The real tests come later. Tapping into the energies of the land, of Crescent Rose itself, and then allowing it to use you. Disquieted, I sink lower down and sit onto the floor, fiddling with a gold coin. Sounds fun. Your parents did this before you, and my predecessors guided them as I guide you. It's what will keep us safe, Rose. Speaking of which, where is your glaive? I left it just in my room. Go fetch it. The very first thing Glinda does is enchant Crystal Thorn so that it won't break against Grim Hide. My group tightens around the haft, watching her whisper words of protection and strength. Wish you had this 7 years ago. You have been fighting back, learning. Once the spell down, she surprises me by moving her hand to cover mine. We won't make the same mistakes. Aspin and Glinda take me outside the city to the isolated temple where the Margot Portal reside, the Curia. We're escorted by a squadron of the castle guards, all on horseback. Young and I ride on our dragons, of course drawing attention as we go. Celica is in a good mood, but that means different things for sand dragons, especially wild ones. I have to keep a closer eyes on her to make sure she doesn't snap and bite anyone who decides to ride too close. You know, we have a fine selection of mounts back at the stables. It's not a teasing, but I feel the need to defend my choice. I'm a Rose, but I'm also a Xiaolong. The good luck pendant rests underneath my armor, kept on a laser collar on my neck. I think it would be good if people remembered that. I need to remind myself now and then. Twisting her neck back to look at me in the eye, Celica squawks at me. Raw! Her gaze doesn't waver. How can I do Yang's voice? Look where you're going, silly. Celica chips and straighten out, neck ruffles flowing out in a gesture I've come to associate with happiness. This is the most exercise I've gotten in a while, but dragons are just as eager to explore the world as the master is. Just be careful not to run around the city with your robe. Why not? Think of what good angle that is to spin. It's a romance of a lost princess, you know. We need to take way more advantage of that. Maybe we could play like she attained an enlightenment out there in the wild or some shit. People eat this stuff up. That might also ruffle the feathers of more than a few conservatives. It's just a thought. Well, I would like to improve relationship between Vale and the tribes. Considering you and I know them pretty well, we might be in a good place to merge them into the Summer Rose Court. What is the Summer Rose Court anyway? Representative from each plane, including ours. It's to ease communication between the planes to strengthen ourselves and their allies. When Ruby's parents were still alive, they had a council on their own. Those who weren't lost in the attack broke away into separate factions. But the Growlons have always been isolated from us for much longer than that. Dad was a court member once, you know. Dad? Really? Yeah, but not for very long. He was fucking bail when he watched my when he saw Summer just fucking getting laid with everyone. Joking. He tried merging the Xylong with the Roses many times. Finally, he got frustrated and left. How come he never told me any of this? Well, it was before we were born. His interest in the court is what made his tribe such an attractive place to hide you, Ruby. He did a good job. The day I found you was not the first attempt I made to search deserts for the last rose heir. What made you decide to come back one more time? A hunch, although it could have been anywhere. All we know was that you were still alive. That was it. You weren't fully attuned to the throne, but I still wanted you. It still wanted you. No one else's. It told me as much. Crescent Rose spoke to you? What? No. He poses. Of course not. Crescent Rose is just what we call the power that rests in our plane. It cannot speak. But it's impossible to deny that it sometimes appears to have a will of its own. Geez, I sure wonder why. Most of the court abandoned Vale to return to their own parts of the plane when they realized they couldn't wield Crescent Rose. Aspin was the only one crazy enough to try. That's a lot to take in. The only remaining court members here are Glinda, Crow, and myself, and Crow is very debatable. So really just Aspin and I. Thank you, Glinda. That will change soon. Rebuilding the court will give us strength again. I hope. Maybe. I echo sentiment privately. The sky darkens as we arrive, clouds gathering thick enough to block out the sun. Young lips can see up, forehead wrinkling in displeasure. Looks like it's gonna rain again. I know, I can smell it in the air. Makes me nervous. I don't think Yang is used to rain in general. The Regans might get sick if we pass them through another storm like we did on the way here. I rub Silica's neck, feeling her thick muscles roll under my hand. That'll be taken care of while we're inside, right? Of course. Are you ready, Ruby? Nodding my affirmative, I slide from the saddle and look up at the entrance of Curia. I think I'm gonna end the video right when we get through Milk Glass. So next time it's just gonna be Vice recruitment. Like beacons, the exterior is protected by stone walls, but the material is different. The white walls of the kingdom are all cut from the same quarries, but these are dense and grey. What's more, there aren't any seams in its constructions. It makes me pause before I steer my dragon closer to put a hand on the flat surface. It's completely smooth. One solid piece. Very astute, Ruby. So it's a big wall. What's so great about it? Beacons are taller. Hilda makes a small noise of disgust, which is about 90% of what she does on her everyday life, but refrains from commenting. Young tightens her grip on the reins to look around. There doesn't seem to be a gate. What are you supposed to do, fly in? I could do that. They're deciding whether to let us through. And if they don't? Aspin doesn't answer. Don't be silly, Young, they're expecting us. I then I turn to Glinda. They made this use magic, right? And no small amount of engineering knowledge. I wonder how quick it is to make a wall out of magic. Are they stronger than our walls? Or do the wizards not rely on them too much, since everyone on the inside is capable of repelling a grim attack? We should look into making more fortifications like this within the city. I mean, if they let us. We'll see about asking them. They were happy to enchant most of our weapons. So further collaboration between us shouldn't be too difficult to engineer. A low rumbling sound distracts us. I notice a thin black line dividing some of the stones where none had been before. It becomes more defined as the noise increases in volume. Taking a few steps back, I realized the door has been there the whole time. Swinging on unseen hinges, the wall parts and we can see inside. So the courtyard that's too much further in. People, movement, activity. Guess that means come in. Glinda instructs the guards who comes with us to remain outside. Only Yang, Aspin, Glinda and I are alone in. It's very quiet inside the Curia. I wonder if Curia is an actual English word I don't know the translation of, or if it's just a name. The only noise is the sound of hooves clattering and claws scraping as we enter. The enclosure is huge. I even spot some greenhouses and what looks like to be a plot of land for gardening much further in, with wizards silently at work. Ah, home. She seems elated. Try not to break anything, Rose. Even the floor is made of the same grey stone, though as we move further in, I notice a carefully maintained amount of greenery as well. I don't notice any children. The youngest person seems to be an apprentice around my age, running across the enclosure during errands. A wizard comes to greet us. His lips suddenly sealed in a frown. So it's just Glinda culture then. Like Glinda's not grumpy, it's just wizard as the bitches. Glinda raises her hand in greeting, a bright light appearing in her palm. He mirrors it. The two wizards stand like this for a few seconds. Then she moves aside, folding her hands behind her back. I can't believe the wizards have secret handshakes. Aspin takes that as a cue to step in. We're here to speak to the Archmage. It's time to make another attempt. I swallow, throat tight. The wizards just nod, gesturing for us to wait. On the perimeter, I spot buildings, all of them fused into the main wall with like small buds. The center of the enclosure is kept clear except for the portals themselves. Whoa. I've seen tread portals before, arches made of metal and stone, smooth and seamless just like these walls. They exist outside the Curia, halfway points between here and Beacon. We had passed a few such places on our way here. Those were always buzzing and moving, with magic humming alive in the air as goods were transported to and fro between planes. But they were nothing compared to these. You've never seen them before? I shake my head. Just drawings. My parents never took me here. There are 5 major portals in total. They each have a name and a story. These are sacred things. They need to be protected, guarded. Only Rose Monarch and Curia members are allowed to see them dormant. They are ancient, out of place among the obviously more modest walls. When humanity found them, we studied them until we gained the tools necessary to build our own. So yes, are portals. But these are still incapable of transporting people. Until the major ones become activated. Speaking of which, 2 of the 5 are in complete disrepair. Yang nod over them as we wait. What's up with those? I'm sorry, I can't keep up doing... I wouldn't try doing Young's voice, but I really can't. Broken portals to plane we no longer have access to. Okay, so the first time I played, I was very confused as to why it was broken, because it all looked so neat and shit. And suddenly recently I realized that, oh yeah, this thing is like broken in half. How come? I look to Ospin, who merely smiles at me. Why don't you tell Leon what you remember and I'll fill in the gaps? Well, I know this one was intentionally sealed off. According to the legend, everything started here, the conflict that shattered our planes. We don't know for sure who or what is on the other side. But since it has such an ugly history, they call it the Scar. It had another name, a more formal one. I rack my brain, wishing Ospin would step in. He seems far too amused at my attempt at a history lesson. Luna Fracta? Very good, Ruby. Yang nods thoughtfully, when she points to the other one, tilting her head in a silent question. That one's the coolest! God fucking mood, Ruby! As a girl, I read about it all the time, and there's fucking nothing on it. Nobody knows what it is. It's been broken for as long as anyone can remember. And now all we have are guesses and theories as to what happened. They call it Magnhild. Handlers come to take our mounts. After a lengthy amount of instruction from Yang, they promise to ensure the dragons are kept in the driest environment possible. The threat of oncoming rain makes the air more humid than usual. I'm going to see some of the younger wizards whispering fire into the air around our dragons to keep them warm and dry. Whispering fire into the air is such a nice fucking visual, though. And then the other three, I don't really care about them, so I don't even read about them. Mirtnaster is a portal that goes to Mage class. They've got some of the greatest engineers in existence. Not to mention that their Mage Knight have remarkable precision and control over death in combat. Who has enough death to waste in a fight? They do. And Lan Zihua is the one over there. I point to the bright green portal, the one made with jade, ebony, ancient teak, red wool and gold. Oh. Oh. I never noticed that. If you already played the game, you know why I'm owing at the jade and redwood part. It leads to helping? At last again, I beseech Ospin with my eyes. Helping. That plane is a lot like ours, but the people are theocratic, kinda. So you probably need to get one of the dragon monks to join the Sumeros court if we're going to be friends. We'll send several of our mages in exchanges. Sounds like a piece of cake. If they have dragons, we've already got plenty in common. We'll let them if the grim threat get any worse. The dragons? The monks. And last but not least, oh dang it. Ospin? Toakwan. Right, that. Toakwan is a portal that leads to Spiritus Bellatorium. They're sort of odd in that they have no magic at all. Like, none. It just goes poof when you try to do it. Poof. Poof. Quality dialogue. And with them because their fighters are formidable. And on top of that, they've always been friendly. Getting their help should be the easiest, but almost all communication with them ended like about 2 years ago. Really? Last we heard, they were in the depths of a civil war. Communication staggered and then slowly stopped altogether. As for the other two planes, well, Glinda, how you put it? They've grown bitter and cold to us after a near decade of no human contact. And their isolated cultures in general. Not very trusting. Yep, there you go. And now we're going to open one of them. This is so cool! There has already been some correspondence between us and the other plane. They should be aware that the major portals will be active again. What about the portals to each other? They are known. Vel is a hub. Travel to the other plane is only possible from here. I didn't remember that. That's fucking neat. And makes a lot of sense once you remember. Once you get later into the game. Once we can make an attempt, the reverberation will travel across temporal space to. I step in to translate. The planes are our neighbors and they're expecting us. There's the door on our end, then the hallway, and the door on their hand. And Krista looks so fucking. She looks so offended. Like, how can you plunderize such a magnificent thing? Absolute fucking bungalow. Now we're gonna knock our outer door and let them know that we want them to open their door. So we can go across the hallway that only appears when both our doors are open. Oh, nice. So, which one shall we open first? Keep in mind that we remain open until we decide to close it. So, did the other portals close by themselves when the former Rose Monarch died? I'm guessing that's what happened. And that opening or sealing a portal will drain you mentally and physically. I know, I'm still considering which choice is the best one to make. Then until we do, we'll begin preparation for the ceremony. Flanked by Glinda as Ospin, I step closer to the area where the portals are kept. One of the wizards joins us, a crystal blade clutched tightly in his hand. Slowly, more wizards approach, forming a semicircle around me, having words for entry, for distance, for doors. I realize at the moment that I haven't heard a single one of them make a sound that wasn't a spell. The wizard who has greeted Glinda takes a spool of white yarn from within his sleeves, twining it 3 times around my left wrist. And then another one approaches with his knife. I back away. Whoa, 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 whoa! Why does everything involve my blood? Healing to Crescent Rose is by virtue of your blood. It will only take a drop. That's what you always say. The mage nodded, prickling the back of his hand with the point of the knife. Even if it's a small cut, it will still make me wince. Around me, the mages begin to sing, sibilant nonsense that I can't begin to translate. Glinda takes my elbow to steady me. Behind me, I hear Yang muttering something dark under her breath. The mage wipes the blade off on the thread, and the length of it shivers with power. The small speck of red blends into the fibre, spreading in and out until the entire length is a burnt scarlet. Currently, Mirknaster is the only one we can open. Preparations aren't complete for the other 2. Well, that makes the choice easier, doesn't it? Mirknaster will be the easiest to open regardless. Huh. The connection between Oplan and there is the strongest. Huh. When you get later into the game, this is very interesting. Then that's why I'm the one I'm doing first. I'm sorry, I'm gonna do Wise recruitment quest later, but because my voice starts to hurt, and again I don't want to make too long video, so hope you enjoyed. Have a nice day. Love you all.